Welcome to this video in the Kofax transformation series. My name is Jesper Scherpenhuizen and today I want to talk about content classification. So a while back I recorded a video talking about classification and how you can use unsupervised and supervised machine learning to build a classification model in a couple of minutes. In that video that was mostly based on layout classification. So the actual layout of a document mattered to the classification outcome. In today's video, I want to do something slightly different. I just want to look at the content. So anything that could come in, whether it's an email, a text message, anything without layout that's just plain text, that's something I'm looking forward to analyzing today. So I'm going to be using the so-called BBC dataset from this website here that I put on the screen, and I have to thank my good friend Tom for actually suggesting this dataset to me. So what I've done is I've used a Kofax RPA robot actually to split that dataset out into a training and a test set. So we've got a 90% train set and a 10% test set. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm actually going to go into the transformation designer, and the only thing I'm going to do first is just open up the training set. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set, include those subdirectories, create subsets, create subdirectory as class for each document, and also make sure that we create classes in the project tree. So just these four checkboxes are going to do all of the heavy lifting for me. So these will make sure that all of these documents in those directories that we already have, that have already been split out to the actual classes, will actually be imported into the system here. And that's going to take a while because it had to analyze 2,000 documents. And once that's been done, we can use all of these documents, and you can see the assigned classes there as well. And we can use this as an input for our classification model. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select all of those documents and just copy them over to the classification set. There you go. So it's now analyzing and copying over 2,000 documents, which is of course going to take a while, but nevertheless, it's still a matter of seconds. So almost there. There you go. Once we've done that, we can actually train the system for classification based on that input, and of course training that model will take some time as well, but still we're talking milliseconds per document because we're now basing this model on over 2,000 samples. So here you can see how quickly it's able to do that. As said, it's taken a while, but still nothing earth-shattering that's happening here. And once we've done this, we're going to open up the training set, the testing set actually, and we're going to show you some benchmarks and how you can use the tools within Kofax to tweak your model, so to say. So we now have a classification model. So let's open up the test set. There you go. And we're going to say create subdirectories. Include subdirectories and assign subdirectory as class. So there you go. So that way we don't have to assign the classes by hand. So we have that. Here you have it. As you can see, it's significantly smaller than the training set. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click it there and say use that as a benchmark set. So we can then go into the benchmark part there for classification, and we can use all classification models. And I just want to show you what the out-of-the-box results are. As you can see, we have a precision of 98.3% based on this training and test set. And what we can now do is we can actually say, well, let's tweak that. Let's say we can play around with the minimum confidence, but also the minimum distance. So let's train that again. Here we have it. So if we leave it at 60% minimum confidence and a minimum distance of 30, as you can see, we now have 100% precision, and we have minimized we've actually eradicated all false positives, because let's say if we put this at 0, you'll start to see these red boxes there, and these are the false positives where the system says, oh no, I'm actually quite convinced that is a tech but it's, well, no, it's the other way around actually. So this is a document that should have been classified as business, but it's now fallen into the tech one. So we can just raise the minimum confidence, well, and make sure that we eradicate all of the false positives. But we also want to minimize the, these that are now being put into there. So what you can then do is you can also play around with the minimum distance. So you can actually turn down the minimum confidence, but you can also increase the minimum distance. So you say, well, I only want to be confident if the distance between the first and second classification results is at least 30% or something else. And you can just play around with this and make sure you get the best possible result in your case. So once we have that classification model in place, you can actually start to look at a lot of the other things that we have there. So let's have a look at the classification result, because I talked about, okay, well, distance between that. And for instance, in this scenario, you can actually say, okay, well, let's classify that real quickly. And you can start to see what I'm talking about when I talk about distance between classification results. So in this scenario, that should have been a business document. You can see that the classification result for business is indeed 90%, but it's 40% tech. So the distance between that is more than enough. And the other key thing that you can also do is you can actually analyze your input, and you can actually make selections in a document and say, well, I only want to classify that piece, and you can then see if it was that piece that threw the system off, because, well, if you're talking about machine learning, you're also doing data science, and you need to have the tools available for you to do analysis. What we've seen today is you've seen me working with content, plain text with the BBC dataset, how we can then use that to build a content classification model, how we can then use the built-in benchmarking tools to really tweak the classification model to be the most effective. We've seen precision percentages of 100%. How we can use those models for, well, as you can see right now, even further analysis that we might need. I hope you enjoyed this video. And as I would always say, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me directly through email, through LinkedIn, whichever way you would prefer. For now, I would say thank you for your time. Have a great day, and thanks for watching.